What's up, America? Common sense has officially re-entered the room. I'm Brilyn Hollyhand, host of, you guessed it, the Brilyn Hollyhand Show. Thank you so much for joining us again this week for what is sure to be an exciting conversation about all of the happenings here in the greatest country on the face of the planet, America. This week, we are unpacking two pretty important topics. Joe Biden pardoned his son, Hunter, and Donald Trump has already stopped the border crisis while sitting down at Mar-a-Lago, not even inaugurated as the 47th president, and he's already getting a lot of work done. We're going to break both of those things down this week on the Brilyn Hollyhand Show. But first, I wanted to take a moment and remind you that every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., I send out a weekly newsletter titled What's Up, America? It's the intro that I provide every week here on this show, and it's what we decided that would be pretty appropriate to title this Wake Up intro to you Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. in your inbox. So it's something very short, very simple, to the point that I send out just my commentary on some of the top topics of the week. It's something that you can get nowhere else. It is completely for free. We've got some really great sponsors that allow us to deliver that for free to your inbox every week. I'm encouraging all of you to sign up. We would love to have you as a part of our Happy Warriors group. All you have to do is go to BrilynHollyhand.com right now, type in your email. It's that simple, and you will start getting that every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. And as well, while you're pulling out your cell phones, make sure that you follow me across all social media platforms. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, where you are, I am as well. And we want to make sure that you are seeing my daily commentary. My hottest of hot takes are right there on social media as the news is breaking, as things are happening. So right there on social media is where you are and where we are as well. So we'll see you on social media. I'll see you Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. in my What's Up America newsletter. But right now, let's get into this week's episode of the Brilyn Hollyhand Show. It wasn't until July of 2017, I just turned 11, and I said, if the adults are going to do something, I'm going to have to step up and do something. So I decided to found the Truth Gazette in an effort to fight the fake news media.
Brilyn Hollyhand wrote that op-ed, and he joins me now. Brilyn, thanks for getting up with us this morning.
Here with me now to bring some levity to this otherwise frustrating time is Brilyn Hollyhand.
As a teenager from the Truth Gazette, and he's gotten some pretty big names.
One of those upstanding young men and women who are taking matters into their own hands in the media world, 15-year-old Brilyn Hollyhand.
Brilyn Hollyhand is the co-chair of the RNC's inaugural Youth Advisory Council.
Brilyn, that is probably the nicest introduction I ever got. I've got to tell you, I'm impressed.
I wish that other reporters around the country were as smart and talented and knowledgeable about the issues as you are.
Oh, thank you for having me, Brilyn, and thanks for your almost 5-year incredible success with the Truth Gazette. Good for you.
How bad the country is. So I think the American people have realized that when they elected a clown to office, this is the circus that was to follow.
To wake up, we have to start involving my generation and focusing on winning over the youth vote if we want a shot at winning in 2024.
Let's break it down this way. A career politician sitting in the Oval Office used his executive power to grant a full pardon for actions his son committed while said career politician was the vice president. Now, when you think of the history of presidential pardons, Ford pardoning Nixon is certainly the most historic, but Biden's pardon of Hunter wins the prize for the biggest pardon since Nixon with the most implications. Now, look, guys, I'm not stupid. I'm certainly not shocked, but I am disgusted. This utter lack of respect for the legal system and the precedent it sets for the future is quite alarming. We all know Hunter Biden is guilty. Joe Biden even knows that. That's why he pardoned him. But the most concerning part of this whole thing isn't Hunter getting away with gun, drug, and prostitution crimes. It's that in the end, this was a pardon of Joe Biden just as much as it was one of Hunter. You see, when the pardon was released, it details that the period of clemency begins in 2014. What a coincidence, because that's when Hunter's illegal international business deals for the family began. This pardon wasn't to prevent scrutiny over Hunter's addict days, but instead to cover the family from prosecution for any negotiations he had in backrooms using his father's title. You see, Hunter worked with Joe Biden's brother to shake down businessmen of at least $20 million, maybe more. And then they split that money up amongst the family all the way down to the grandchildren. Yes, the Biden crime family cashed in from this. Now, remember when they impeached Donald Trump for investigating the same crimes that Joe Biden just pardoned Hunter for? Yeah, I do, and you should as well. Remember when they argued that decency was on the ballot back in 2020? Well, those same people with the moral high ground just pardoned a drug addict who prostituted and sex trafficked underage women and videoed it all on his laptop. That's what this truly is when you take the wrapping paper off of it. You see, the same people using the decency argument spent 4 years tweeting that no one is above the law. Apparently, that's not the case. If you're Joe Biden's son and you commit felonies, you're above the law. That's what this pardon means for the future of America. The most concerning aspect of this, though, is the blatant lies that Joe Biden told the American people in the past few months alone. I'm going to read 3 out for you. In June of 2024, Joe Biden said, and I quote, "I abide by the jury decision. I will not pardon him." July 2024, Karine Jean-Pierre says, will he pardon his son? No, that's the most direct Karine Jean-Pierre has ever been answering a question. Again, November 2024, Karine Jean-Pierre says, our answer stands, which is no. Not once, not twice, but 3 times, Joe Biden and his administration for once didn't dodge, but actually went on the record saying he wouldn't pardon his son. What else has he lied to the American people about for personal gain? But the spin from the left and the reaction to all of this has been the most entertaining to me. They've claimed that this is a political witch hunt, and Hunter was only charged for these felonies because his last name is Biden. Okay, for sake of argument, let's say that that's true. First of all, felonies are felonies, and these crimes still deserve a punishment, regardless of your last name. Second of all, those same pundits will be the exact same ones calling for impeachment again when Donald Trump pardons himself from actual political prosecution and countless trials simply because his last name was Trump. They'll act like it's the end of democracy itself, but when they do it, it's just another weekday. It didn't take a council on root causes. It didn't even take a border czar. It took one phone call. That's it. Last week, the president-elect picked up the phone and called the new Mexican president, and with one singular conversation, he made an agreement to, in his words, quote, stop migration. So you mean to tell me that Biden and Harris sat on their hands for 4 years, creating task force after task force about how to fix the border crisis, and all they had to do was dial up Mexico? This adds a whole new layer to the laziness of border czar Kamala Harris. What I find interesting here, though, and very exciting, is that Trump has done more in 29 days to stop the invasion than Biden and Harris have done in 4 years. Let that sink in. If this much is getting done this quickly with just the title of president-elect, imagine how fast America will be back on the right track when Donald Trump is back behind the resolute desk. I'm excited. I bet you are as well. This isn't the first thing in the upcoming 47th president has been direct about in the past few weeks. Over the weekend, he posted that if hostages in the Middle East aren't returned before he places his hand on the Bible, in his words, quote, there will be all hell to pay. Yes, that is a direct quote, and I couldn't be more excited to read that. My fellow history nerds will remember a similar warning from the Gipper himself, Ronald Reagan, upon entering office, and the hostages at the time were returned within minutes of Reagan taking the White House keys from Carter. Now, I always say that history doesn't repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes, and right now it is certainly rhyming. America is seeing its worst days since Jimmy Carter with Joe Biden in charge. Ronald Reagan is coming back in as the new sheriff in town to deliver morning in America again. Get excited because we are only 47 days away from the great American comeback when the 47th president is inaugurated on the Capitol steps. Well, that's all for this week here on the Brilyn Hollyhand Show. Thank you for tuning in, and please make sure that you give us a review wherever you listen to your podcast, and make sure you're subscribed to the Brilyn Hollyhand Show wherever podcasts are available, whether that is TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, even YouTube. We are everywhere that podcasts are available. That's something we worked really hard to make sure that this show is accessible and is easy to get into the hands of every single one of you. So please make sure that you leave us a little review, make sure you subscribe to this show as a whole, and share it with a few of your friends if you enjoyed today's episode. We will see you next week right back here on the Brilyn Hollyhand Show. I'm Brilyn Hollyhand. Have a good one.